And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again another day committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media, always providing you the timely truth centered around real estate, credit, finance, estate, and tax planning, and so much more. Over 80 show categories of consumer advocate content. And what does that mean? What does consumer advocate mean? And it means that we're looking out for you. We're going to tell you the truth. You're not going to get commission breath around here, where it's all about the consumer, and it has been for the past 6 years on air. 5 o'clock drive time, 1380 The Biz, the Wall Street Business Network, 99.9 FM on the Translator, 102.5 The Bone Sunday mornings, and all of our show content is syndicated on YouTube, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, Roku, Sony TV, literally 85 other outlets that we're on, so you can find us everywhere. Of course, check out our iTunes podcast, and we've got a lot of great content on there. Our iTunes podcast featuring all types of greats, from Ken Shamrock, the UFC legend, Hall of Famer Grant Cardone. We've had, just last week, we also had the former FBI lead international hostage negotiator on the show, Chris Voss. So a lot of good content on our iTunes podcast. You should check it out. Also, make sure you save our hotline number in your phone, 813-670-7372.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
813-670-7372. Call or text that line. That's an off-air number. You can call us with any questions you have. Also, bookmark our website, consumerqb.com. A plethora of information available for you at consumerqb.com. This segment is brought to you by Brothers Easy Moving, the official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Brothers Easy Moving, and I can tell you from first-hand experience that they are a first-class organization. They do a great job. The team came out, and they showed up with 2 trucks. They had like 8 guys there. We knocked it out. It was still a 12-hour move, but we knocked it out, and they are among the best-reviewed movers in all of Tampa Bay. 4.6 on Google, 4.5 on Yelp, A rating with the Better Business Bureau and Angie's List, and they've also won the Super Service Award multiple times. Shout out to Brothers Easy Moving, the official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, it's Intelligent Talk Radio. I've got some intelligent folks here in studio with me today, making his debut, Chad Bromagen. Welcome in, sir.
Thank you, Brandon. Thanks for having me.
Filling in for Scott Kepler, who's on a much-needed vacation,
That's
I'm
right.
sure. Mortgage Approval Group in the house. Welcome in.
Thank you. Chad Bromagen, loan originator with Mortgage Approval Group. We're a local mortgage broker here in Tampa. Been in the mortgage business about 20 years personally. We've got decades of experience on our team, so we're here to answer any questions and help any way we can with all of your mortgage needs.
Good stuff. We're going to talk a little bit about today what's happening in the refinance market. Rates are at a 24-month low.
Yes, thereabouts. They are. So anybody that's purchased a home in the last 2 years, or been putting off that home improvement project or pool or whatever, now's the time to look into that for sure.
Excellent. Good stuff. We also have Jake Alexander Financial. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me as usual.
Yeah, man. My pleasure. So, Jake, a lot of people refer to it as a CPA, but you're in my opinion, it's one up. You're one up from you're an enrolled agent with the IRS, meaning you could practice in all 50 states.
Yeah, we're federally licensed, and I don't get into the comparison thing so much, but I'll take that as a compliment from you, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm federally recognized to represent any taxpayer on any tax matter to any IRS office anywhere in the United States. So
very cool.
Yeah.
What kind of trends have you been seeing out there? Anything happening?
Oh man, it's summertime, so we've been doing a lot of traveling. But now is it's an interesting time for us because we're past the initial rush of tax season at the beginning of the year, and we're before the end of the third quarter rush when extensions come due. So we do a lot of tax planning now, a lot of strategy for our business clients. What's their plan down the road, 3, 5, 10 years? Do they want to buy? Do they want to be in a position to sell?
Yeah.
A lot of that kind of stuff going on now. So
yeah, long time perspective. That's the key when it comes to being successful. One of my favorite stories I like to talk about is Dr. David Banfield of Harvard conducted a 50-year study into the upward socioeconomic mobility of Americans and folks around the world. And the number one determinant of your success is how much time you take in. It's long time perspective, developing that long time perspective. So really hits home when you think about how you're setting up your corporations, your LLCs. You might have multiple entities.
Yep.
Of course, a lot of these multinational companies do that. Just that they have lots of entities that they can funnel certain businesses through.
Absolutely. And I tell people too, it's like that. Those first, it's different for every industry, but usually like between the first and third year, I call it the treading water stage. You're
Right.
like you're getting things going. You're so focused on monthly cash flow and just paying the bills that once you get past that and you kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, it starts to become more clear.
That's right.
So in 5 years, what do we want to look like? In 10 years, what do we want to look like? And
Yep.
that's what we really enjoy helping our clients figure
That's right.
out. Yeah.
Awesome, good stuff. So your team is going to have a table at our event coming up tomorrow night. It's going to be on Thursday, the 27th. We've got Tampa Bay's largest speed networking event, the 2.0 version. We had to bring this back. We had so much success at the first one. We said, hey, we're going to make this an annual event, probably do it twice a year. But it's going to be a free event here. Speed networking. We've got catered food from Amici's Cater Cuisine, the award-winning Amici's Cater Cuisine. We've got DJ Yahoo going to be spinning some cool tracks. We've got a bartender going to be pouring some drinks, Monkey Spirits bartending services, and it's put on by of course, the Consumer Quarterback Show and the Platinum MVP team. Register on Eventbrite.com. We're over 200 plus now registered for this event. It's going to be a great time. Come on out and hang out with us. A lot of our radio show partners are going to be there, and we want to see you there. So the Tampa Bay's largest speed networking event. It's at the Verizon Center. Great venue as well. 3950 East Bay Drive in Largo tomorrow night. All right. So back here in studio, we want to help you win. That's our number one goal. And I've got a couple of hot listings that just hit the market. I want to let you know about this property at 7519 Pier Road. This is in Port Richey. Now, this is a development opportunity. Now, what you have, it's very close to the new Hooters and that intersection there where they've got the water on the river. Just a lot of cool stuff happening in that space at Pier Road in Port Richey. So, commercial development opportunity. The owner says this would be great for condos or potentially a car lot right there at Pier Road. All right, how about 9950 Hilltop Drive in Newport Richey? 9950 Hilltop Drive, Newport Richey. This property, it's a single-family home with 3 acres around it, and then we also have the neighboring 7 acres of land, 6.5 acres of land right there as well. A couple of hot properties. Check out PlatinumMVPTeam.com.
Sun is shining, the weather is sweet.
All right, let's jump right into it. So we got Chad in the house here. He's a local mortgage expert, a couple of decades in the business, and when you look at some of the misconceptions, I always like to start off with what are some of the calls that you're getting on a daily basis? What are some of the misnomers out there that people continually call you up and they say, oh, well, I thought I had to have 20 or 30% down payment, or what would that be for you?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, most people out there think you have to have a 700 credit score or 20% down in order to purchase a new home, and that's not the case. First-time home buyer, you can purchase a home little as 3% down. Being a mortgage broker, we have access to several lenders, so we can help some of those low credit folks out as well. We can go down, to the mid 500s if we have to, sometimes lower.
Wow.
Not everyone's the same, not everyone fits the same mold, but we're able to, shop it around and find the best fit for each individual.
Yeah, and that's a good point too, because you actually do shopping. If someone walks into a certain bank on the corner, the big guys. I like to pick on them. I don't want to say their name because I don't want to get sued by them. But the big guys, they're on the corner and they took the bailout money from all of us taxpayers, and they went out and bought all the best commercial real estate and et cetera, et cetera. But those guys typically are going to have 1 or 2 programs.
Exactly.
You fit or you don't.
Yep.
And it's a vanilla cream type deal.
Cookie cutter type deals. Yeah, they have a set product line that they offer. They also have a lot of overlays. Sometimes their own guidelines on top of the already strenuous guidelines there are. So it is nice to have access to several different lenders and see what's out there and shop it around. So not everyone fits in the same mold, as I said. So you do not have to have a 700 credit score. You do not have to have 20% down to purchase a home. So give us a call. We'd love to answer any questions that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. And mortgageapprovalgroup.com is the website.
Correct.
Mortgageapprovalgroup.com. I know also scottkepler.com is what Scott's wrote about. So I want to read this here. This is the Federal Reserve's June policy statement. The central bank stood pat on interest rates this month, but the expectations of some of its policy makers have changed. About half of the 17 Fed officials who have to say in monetary policy now project either 1 or 2 quarter-point rate cuts by the end of the year. As recently, so that's pretty interesting. They're talking about cutting rates again, and it's already low.
Right.
Is that true?
I mean, and yeah, by all, from what they're saying, it looks like that they are going to cut it in July. As you said, they stood pat last week. That kind of indirectly affects mortgage rates, but ultimately, it does have a direct effect on, your home equity lines of credits and products like that. But it'll be interesting to see what happens there. There's a couple things on the economic calendar this week, too. New home sales and consumer confidence came out this morning. Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to look at those yet. Later this week, we have new jobless claims and GDP on Thursday, I believe. And then you got the G20 going on this week. So with all that, it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out. But, rates are down to their 2017 levels. And based on, what we just talked about, it looks like that they're going to continue that direction. But,
yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
And it says also, here's a tweet from President Trump. It says, a day earlier, stocks rose after President Trump stated that he and Chinese President Xi Jinping will be having an extended meeting at this week's G20 summit in Japan. So hopefully they're going to work some things out.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll see.
They'll kiss and make up.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It's be good for all of us.
Yeah, exactly. All right, stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. When we come back, more from our expert contributors. And I got some updated statistics straight from the Pinellas Realtor Organization. We're going to talk about what's happening locally here in the Pinellas real estate market, as well as Hillsborough and Pasco. So stay with us right here. More from our expert contributors, Chad Bromagen in the house, Mortgage Approval Group, Jake Alexander Financial, and our feel-good story of the day coming up later in the show. Stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Ryan.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by Trulieve on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in any marketplace. Also got a business out there with Ken Shamrock, the Ultimate Fighting Champion and UFC Hall of Famer, WWF legend. Ken Shamrock is our business partner as well on the Business Growth Celebrity Academy. Check out bgca.co. The Business Growth Celebrity Academy helps you realize the celebrity in you and become a micro celebrity in your market, where you're going to build wealth, personal brand, and increase your status. Anyone can become a micro celebrity. It's easy. So realize the celebrity in you through bgca.co. We got daily webinars running, and it's a really cool opportunity for you to grow your sphere of influence, grow your business, and kind of simulate the success model that we've proven right here in Tampa Bay. And this segment is brought to you by the Bilmar Beach Resort, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show, the Bilmar Beach Resort on Gulf Boulevard in Treasure Island. And this place is filled with fantastic and generous amenities to make your vacation that much more special. The Bilmar Beach Resort has been one of the most sought-after destinations in all of Treasure Island area for many years. I love it. They've got 2 pools on site, Sloppy Joe's restaurant right there with, of course, the beach bar. And Clyde Smith, the general manager, couldn't be a nicer guy, great guy. He also donated a gift for our speed networking event, where we're going to be giving away a weekend stay at the Bilmar Beach Resort. That's tomorrow night. That's our speed networking event. So give a big shout out to Bilmar Beach Resort, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, back here in studio helping you, we got Chad Bromagen in the house, Mortgage Approval Group, Jake Alexander here as well. And I want to tell you about a hot listing that we've got just outside of downtown Tampa, 4309 Frierson Avenue. This is a perfect opportunity for that real estate builder, that developer, and entrepreneur. It's currently zoned for two quadplexes. Okay, so we got 2 quadplexes, 8 units available to be built here at 4309 East Frierson Avenue. The property's only $140,000, so it's a great buying opportunity right here just outside of Tampa. Great opportunity. Also, another vacant parcel of land that's prime for development, 9200 Gun Highway. This is at the corner of Racetrack Road. The owner tells me it's one of the last intersections on all of Gun Highway from Hillsborough all the way to Pasco that's not developed. Think about this beautiful 2.39 parcel land here, right in Odessa, RSC 2 half-an-acre lots, single-family home, conventional development is ready to go. Plus, potentially zoning changes there at 9200 Gun Highway. Check out PlatinumMVPTeam.com. Somewhere sunny and 75. All right, so more from Chad coming up as well. We're going to dive deeper into mortgage later in the show. I want to switch gears, talk with Jake Alexander here. Alexander Financial, longtime friend of the program, helping business owners of all sizes with their finances and putting together the P&L, the balance sheets, all that fun stuff.
All the invigorating stuff, right?
Yes, that's right.
So that's what this time of year we do a lot of that stuff too. It's like strategy season for us. Is how has the business got to where it is? Where does the business want to go? What's your long-term plan? You did a great job at explaining that earlier. And then that's really what we focus on in the summertime. And it's not only for our clients, but it's also for us. How are we planning out? We're already preparing for next tax season. We've got our goals as far as growth and everything. And if those go through, or how are we going to handle this? Do we have the capacity? Do we need to hire? Do we need to be doing training now? And all that kind of fun stuff too. So.
Yeah, forecasting is a huge part of business. And then when you look at some of the recent changes to the rules, I always like to update when we have our attorneys come in. They talk about changes with work comp rules or different things happening. What are you seeing changes-wise, and how have they either improved or hurt local businesses?
The biggest improvement I've seen is this whole QBI deduction, right, which is a 20% deduction to qualified business income. And there's still a ton of confusion around it, but it's really set up to push the economy for small business owners. And so the super 10,000 foot high level view, just for easy numbers, is if you're a small business owner and you have a pass-through entity, let's say for easy numbers you have $100,000 in net income at the end of the year, you automatically get a 20% deduction from there, so you're going to pay taxes on 80 instead of 100.
Wow.
So yeah, depending on your tax bracket, this can be thousands of dollars. And of course there's, stipulations and requirements and stuff like that too. But for the most part, this is the biggest change to the tax code since 1987. So
Wow.
it's a big deal. Yeah, absolutely.
And that was part of Trump's plan, the Tax Cuts and
Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, absolutely, yeah. So that was the biggest thing, and that's where there's still a lot of confusion, still a lot of people trying to really wrap their head around there. But I tell people this, that the time, if you've ever wanted to start a business, or if you've had, something that's kind of been like a side project and never got 100% of your attention, now is absolutely the time to pursue it. So,
because Jake, if you're running a landscaping business or a massage might not be the best, but a landscaping business, for example.
Yeah.
You're running it as a sole proprietor, versus an LLC or whatever you might suggest.
Yep.
You're literally leaving thousands of dollars every year on the table, aren't you?
You could be, yeah. And it really comes down to organization, too. It's interesting you bring that up. I saw an article, and I don't know if it was Forbes or something, about the trades. Like, there's such an opportunity for people in the trades, being a plumber or an AC repair guy. And it starts off small, and then these guys end up turning these companies into multi-million-dollar organizations,
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Yeah, having the right setup, having the right plan in place is definitely essential.
A couple of our show partners are like that. Rick Nickerson with Bottoms Up.
Oh, okay.
His company does the
use
cleaning.
Those guys, actually.
Yeah.
They take tile out of the floor, right?
Yeah, he bought these machines to lift up the tile, which is a back-breaking manual labor job.
Yeah.
So he invested in these machinery. Now I want to say he had like 35 employees or maybe more. Don't quote me on that. But there's success stories like that all over the place.
Yep, absolutely.
And if they grow it right with different entities to be a tax shield, not only a tax shield, but also from suit, right?
Yeah, from liability purposes, you want to be set up the right way, and you want to take advantage of everything. Our whole thing is, I tell people, it's my job to get us both to a point where we're both comfortable, where you're comfortable, you're paying the least amount of taxes, and we're comfortable, no one's going to get in trouble for anything. So there is a lot of gray area in what we do, and when it comes down to it, you just want to make sure you're on the up and up, and you can go to sleep at night, knowing that everything is taken care of and you're doing the right thing.
That's right. If you just joined us, I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. We're talking with Jake Alexander. He's the owner of Alexander Financial and a local CPA type group. It's an enrolled agent with the IRS, so he can help with all your books, taxes, all that good stuff. So, Jake, one of the things, too, people always worry about, I remember my dad got hit with an audit back in, I want to say I was in 8th or 9th grade, and I felt it was like the end of the world happened.
Yep.
He's like, I just got audited. I got to get all my receipts together. Like, how many people get audited? What's the chances, and how can you avoid that?
It's quite possibly the worst experience somebody could ever go through is an IRS audit, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting, right? We report our taxes on a voluntary basis, they call it. It's not so voluntary, but we voluntarily report, when you're self-employed, your income and your expenses. And so there is a chance the IRS could come back and audit you. Statistics show that less than 1% of people that make under, I don't remember exactly the number, but let's say under $1 million actually get audited. So the odds are very, very low. It's interesting, though. I was just at a continuing education seminar this past weekend in Orlando. It's like our yearly summer conference type deal. And he was like a manager for the IRS, said they're hiring 600 new, they're called revenue officers, which are basically field IRS agents nationwide to train and put out in the field. So there is some increased scrutiny there, especially with all the new Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, with all the changes and everything. So even with that, in comparison to the amount of taxpayers that actually file tax returns, let's say that doubled it and it went up to 2%. The odds are still very low, but you want to make sure you have the proper records and you have everything in place. So if that ever did happen, you've got nothing to worry about.
Now, I was just reading an article, and I love all types of music. I just happened to saw Willie Nelson on the cover of this magazine yesterday.
Okay.
And, the article is pretty cool, how he mentored, Hank Williams Jr., a lot of the old school, country guys. But it went on to talk about how he got hit with a seizure. Like, he had literally, I think it was $30 million. He said they came and took everything.
Wow.
They took everything at I think it was a Texas ranch that he had.
So I've been at these seminars before, and the IRS officers have admitted they will, not necessarily target's probably not the word, but they will go after high-profile individuals, because what makes a better news story than, John, who nobody knows, who the IRS took $30 million, or Willie Nelson, a public figure, everybody knows that name. And then you hear things, too, like Wesley Snipes, had his whole run-in The guy
50
from
Cent. Didn't they get 50 on it?
50 something. The guy I cannot remember his name. The guy from Jersey Shore. You know,
Oh, okay.
it's like
Yeah.
whatever's new in the pop culture media, they kind of center around that kind of stuff.
Oh,
so.
that's a good strategy.
Yeah,
Scare everybody.
Absolutely.
That follows the.
Scare them into paying their taxes. So.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So, what else should we talk about here? What's a big question that you get, Jake? What's something that's a misnomer, or maybe something that you feel like people need to know about?
So it's interesting, right? So I just did a speaking engagement for a group full of real estate agents, and the big thing with them was, do we need to keep receipts? Do we actually need, it's 2019. Do I need to have this shoebox
Good question.
full of receipts? And my answer is no, especially if you have digital copies of that stuff. There's so many apps out there these days, and we use QuickBooks. I don't represent them or anything like that. It's just the most user-friendly in my opinion. And from your cell phone, they have an app you can actually access. You could take a picture of every one of your receipts, and you can have everything digitally stored, and so it gets rid of the need for the shoebox or the file cabinet full of all that kind of stuff, and everything being able to be replicated. Say if we needed to print that and go in, or we could even load it all on a thumb drive and walk into the IRS office if we had to. So yeah.
Dad used to say, if you spend cash, you definitely need to get a receipt, because there's no other way to document that. If you're spending, I remember back in the day, you filled up your tank, you had to go in and pay the cashier
$20 cash here.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you squeeze out the exact amount so you didn't go over. 'Cause if you went over 5 or 10 cents,
then you had to go back in and come out. I remember that.
How times have changed.
It is true.
That's interesting. And I got an interesting story coming up as well regarding the FBI. And if you remember the name Frank Abagnale, they did a movie about him. Catch me if you can. Also, Gamer raises nearly $1 million for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in just 4.5 hours. Stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by True Leaf on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in any marketplace. That's our #1 goal. If you want to win in negotiations, whether you're buying, selling, or investing, we would love to talk to you. I actually teach negotiation classes at GTAR and Pro, and we would love to help you with that, branding and negotiation classes at both of the realtor boards here locally in Tampa Bay. This segment is brought to you by the Lucky Dill, our official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. The Lucky Dill restaurant, they've got a deli, a New York City bar, a Brooklyn bakery, catering, and more. The Lucky Dill is the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show, and it's the home of the sandwich that ate Brooklyn. Huge sandwiches, salads, all types of great entrees and food. Very friendly service staff, and they are on Boy Scout Boulevard in Tampa, US 19 in Palm Harbor, online at luckydilldeli.com. And we are back here in studio. We want to help you win. We got two of our expert contributors in the house, Chad Bromagen, Mortgage Approval Group, Jake Alexander Financial. And before we jump back into this great content, I'm going to tell you about a hot listing I've got. This is one of my favorite listings here, 12610 Port Marnock Drive in Odessa. This is a gated community, and if you check out the beautiful aerial drone photography, compliments of Fabre Frameworks, you see that this home has both water views in the front and back. It's on a golf course, and it has gorgeous, gorgeous interior as well. Great floor plan at 12610 Port Marnock Drive in Odessa. Gated community of the Turnberry at the Eagles. Great opportunity, pool and spa as well. And check out all of our property listings at PlatinumMVPTeam.com. PlatinumMVPTeam.com.
Sun is shining, the weather is sweet.
All right, so let's go back to Chad here. We got Chad in the house. We're talking about mortgage and finance and the way that things are happening. You know, the market just continues to get better. I mean, it says the week on Wall Street, the S&P 500 hit an all-time peak of 29,064 in intra-trading Friday, while improving to 2.2% across the 5 days markets. The Dow Jones Industrial Average and NASDAQ Composite posted respective 5-day advances of 2.41% and 3.01. So things are on fire, man. The economy's doing great. You've got the single family homes, townhouses across all spectrum. It seems like things are hitting on all cylinders.
Absolutely. I mean, and being a realtor, that everything that hits the market's going pretty fast. Existing homes, that is.
Yeah.
And now's the time to buy with rates are where they're at. We touched on earlier, going back to that, even if you purchased in the last 2 years, you might want to look at refinancing based on where rates are at. Or,
Right.
that home improvement project you've been putting off, the swimming pool, the new bathroom, the new kitchen. But yeah, the market's on fire, and all indicators
Yeah, exactly.
look like it's going to continue that trend.
That's right. And I'm looking at Pinellas market stats here. I was over at Pro this morning, and you look at closed transactions. So here's combined single-family homes just for Pinellas County here. Single-family homes, townhomes, and condos. Closed sales at April of 2018. So a year ago, we had 2,093. This April, we had 2,060. So just down just 1.6% in closed sales. Cash transactions actually went down compared from 838 a year ago to 738 this year. And then new pending sales, 2285 back in April of 18, April of 19, 2307. New listings. So all in all, things are pretty similar to what they used to be. Inventory is actually up. It's interesting. So 5806 today versus 5205, which is 11.5% increase. So more active inventory on the market.
Sure. That interesting stat there to see the cash sales down, because that's been even when rates were at their lows.
Yeah.
There was a lot of cash buyers out there. I guess there was still a lot of ill will, I guess, from 2008. A lot of, the sentiments, a lot of people just were done with mortgages. They're done with banks.
Could be surprising to me too. I mean, why not take advantage of other people's money, right?
Yeah, I mean, with rates where they're at, I mean, under 5% is great, but I mean, we're back around the 4% range, 4.5.
Unbelievable.
We don't like to quote rates on the radio, but
yeah, exactly.
Everyone's different. But
yeah, we don't want the mortgage police coming after us, right? So the absorption rate as well. If you look at the absorption rate as compared to Last April, for example, 49% in 2018, 51% absorption rate. March, 48% absorption rate, 39% in 2019. So it actually went down. And then February, 35 to 30, respectively, for 2018, 2019. So the absorption rate's changing. I think a lot of times the challenge is here we are in Tampa Bay. You look at Palm Harbor, Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, Bradenton, Sarasota. I mean, even up in Pasco. We are in such a hot market. I mean, just the beautiful beaches that we have, the fine dining, the opportunities for all types of activities for everyone. WrestleMania coming in
Right.
the fall or in the spring of next year. You got Super Bowl following that. So many fun things happening here in Tampa Bay. When we hear these national numbers, we hear, oh, the market's changing. It affects other markets, but not us.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Florida is a very hot market, especially our area. And, it's interesting too. I still hear a lot of people out there, read a lot of articles, but a lot of people are still wanting to rent.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you wouldn't take advantage of these rates where they're at, because
That's right.
basically you're going to pay, your mortgage payment's going to be the same amount as the rent or less in some cases.
Yeah, typically the numbers I hear between 30 and 40% more that you pay for the very similar property. Let's just say an average 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, roughly 2,000 square feet home. You can rent that same property. Let's say you pay $1,700, $1,800, depending on the area in rent. You could buy that same asset for what, $1,200?
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. So when you look at the numbers, you compare the numbers. So then what's the next reason? So why aren't they doing it, Chad? That's the next question. Like, why
That's
not?
a great question.
Right? That's the one that's holding me back, too. We always run a rent versus own analysis here for the show. Anybody that wants to reach out, we do a rent versus own for you.
Yep.
And compare that.
We do that for a lot of our folks, too. I mean, that's, anyone that's interested in that, we'd love to help. But the math just doesn't make sense to continue renting.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you forecast that out, talking about what Jake was mentioning earlier, when you really, if you look at the numbers and you forecast the difference in payment, so that was like a $400 payment, for example, the difference that they're paying.
Right.
And then you look at what they're not gaining in terms of equity buildup
right.
and the appreciation of the home. You're talking about it in the 5 years, $85,000, $95,000, $115,000 that these renters are leaving on the table, Jake.
But they could take that difference and use it as a down payment on a rental property and then really start to
Yeah.
pour some gas on things,
I love the idea of buying a triplex or a quad. Living in one unit and renting the rest out.
The other thing, talking about how hot the market is here, prices are going to continue to rise.
Yeah.
So the longer you wait to buy, the more you're going to pay.
Yeah, that's right.
And who knows where rates are going to be at that point.
Yeah. Well, I think the common sense says they can't stay this long, very long.
Correct.
So you're going to pay more for the asset. You're going to pay more for the financing.
That's right.
And you're going to be sitting there wondering why you didn't make a move.
Yep.
Why didn't it happen? So let's do a rent versus own analysis then for the first 3 listeners. All you have to do is text the word rent and the amount of rent that you're paying to our consumer advocate hotline, 813-670-7372. Text the word rent and the amount of rent that you're paying to 813-670-7372. Now, that's our consumer advocate number. You can text or call that line. Of course, you can also submit an email at consumerqb.com. If you're driving, you don't want to pull over and text us, just consumerqb.com. Submit the email form. Just let us know you want a rent versus own analysis and how much rent you're paying, and then we're going to compare it. We're going to break it down for them, Chad. Now, what would that conversation look and feel like once they reach out?
But basically, like you said, to find out what they're paying in rent, then we can take a look at, what type of house they can afford. Obviously there's some other factors that go into that. Your credit score, what you have available for a down payment. Everyone's different, as we talked about. So, but we'll ask those questions and we'll see what works for them as an individual. But we'll definitely show you the difference in what you're paying in rent versus what you'd pay in a mortgage and what you're losing on possible equity that you're earning.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really makes a lot of sense when you look at the numbers on paper, you forecast it out. And it may be not for you. Maybe you're the uncle and you're thinking about a niece or a nephew. You're thinking about that. It's a situation where you may be the aunt, and you're thinking, this might be something that my niece and nephew would want to hear more about, or your son or daughter. Have them reach out. We'd love to help them. That's what we do here. It's a consumer advocate-based program, all about helping you, the consumer, understand more about your buying decisions. So when we come back, we're going to talk some interesting stuff. I want to bring in We're going to talk about the FBI, Frank Abagnale. You may have seen that story, the show, the movie, Catch Me If You Can. Interesting story. And we're going to talk about a recent talk that I saw him give online at Google and some of the surprising information of where we're going. Passwords, he says, are going away. No more passwords in the future. And I want to talk to you about debit cards versus credit cards as well. More from our expert contributors. Got Jake Alexander in the house as well. And our feel-good story of the day. Gamer raises nearly $1 million for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in just 4.5 hours. Stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Ian Beckles here with
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by Trulieve on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, top real estate team here in the Tampa Bay market. Part of the #1 real estate company in the world, Keller Williams Realty. And real excited about a lot of growth around the marketplace and our team. And if you're looking to join a team and maybe future-proof your business, we are hiring agents right now. So we'd love to talk to you and set up an interview, and a confidential interview, of course. Just reach out to our hotline or give us a call. And you can also email us through consumerqb.com, consumerqb.com. Shout out to wholebodyfuel.com, the official meal delivery service of the Consumer Quarterback Show, wholebodyfuel.com. Chef Brian Adamo and his team, Kevin and the whole team, they do a great job. Now, this is convenient organic, healthy meals delivered directly to your home or office. And I love it. Every week I get a delivery. I carry these meals with me in my vehicle, and that way I'm not chasing my next meal, sometimes running into those fast food stores that those fast food restaurants that is not good for you. But we all do it every now and then. So
that's my problem.
Yeah, wholebodyfuel.com. They do a great job, and good food, tasty food as well. All right, so we got a great lineup here today. Chad Bromagen in the house, Mortgage Approval Group, Jake Alexander from Manchel, and every day we're going to tell you something positive here in our Feel Good segment of the day.
Tell me something good.
All right, so this is about the gamer that raises nearly $1 million for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in just 4.5 hours. Wow, pretty cool. Streamer Ben quoted Dr. Lupo. Lupo raised $920,343 for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in just 4.5 hours on Sunday. Dr. Lupo raised millions of dollars for charity in the past, but yesterday's feat was a new record for the popular gamer. Quote, thank you so much to every single person that donated, to every single person that supported St. Jude, to every single person that's going to be at Guardian Con, to every single person that freaking loves gaming, and most importantly, from top to bottom, St. Jude, Dr. Lupo said at the end of the stream. Today's gaming raised $920,000, as mentioned, in just 4.5 hours. The stream was part of a collaboration between Dr. Lupo and Guardian Con, which is an annual 2-day event for gamers. Pretty cool. Pretty good stuff, man. What do you think about that new gaming sensation? When your kids don't play games all day, what are you going to do? You're not going to make money with games. Now they're making money with games.
I have a buddy who has a 15, 16-year-old son, and he's like one of the top Fortnite. I don't know. He's like one of the top in, I don't know if the world or country or something.
Yeah.
And that's why, playing these games, what are you doing? I'm like, no, let's get him a camera and set up a YouTube channel. And I don't know how, but there's ways to make money with this stuff, So I love hearing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of our friends, the young boy, watches TV a lot, and I was messing with him the other day. I said, hey man, I'm gonna get what's his name, Rob? I was trying to remember the guy's name. He's a gamer. I was talking about Tfue.
Okay.
He goes, yeah, I'm gonna get Tfue on my show. What? You don't get Tfue on your show? He was like, it was like I said, Michael Jordan did, to somebody in my day.
When
right?
I was a kid, you were just wasting time. You weren't. There was no way to make money playing video games, but you can actually do it on the internet.
That's right.
Now. Yeah.
All right. So interesting. FBI. I just watched this movie, man. Frank Abagnale, you might know him as Catch Me If You Can, a.k.a. Leo DiCaprio, played that part in the movie. Very interesting talk that I saw the gentleman who, the older version of him now, decades from when he was running around at 16 and 19-year-old fooling the airlines, jumping on airlines, cashing checks worldwide. He got caught.
Did he fly planes? Like
he said, he always rode co-pilot.
Oh, I was gonna say
he had to learn the lingo, and he always rode the co-pilot seat. They called it AKA right seat, I guess is what they called it. But yeah, so he got caught, went into jail at weighing 198 pounds, came out weighing just over 100, I believe, or maybe. Wow. Yeah, so he lost a ton of weight. He was in a bad situation. But here he is now. He switched from the dark side, AKA, to the light side now. So he works for the FBI. And I saw this talk that he gave at Google online. And it was very interesting. I pulled a couple nuggets out of this. Number one is he says, don't use debit cards. If you're using debit cards, you're giving the criminals a direct line to reach into your bank account, pull that money out. And for example, if they pulled $3,000 or $30,000, depending on how much money you keep in your accounts, it's going to take you weeks to get it back. And then therefore you got bills to pay in the meantime, and they don't care. They're not going to, what are they going to do, right? So that was one thing I pulled from that. So I mentioned we're going to get rid of debit cards. We're going straight credit cards. And then secondly, and plus it also builds your score up. So Chad, the mortgage, all the mortgage folks will love that. It's going to build your score. But he also said passwords are going away. Passwords as we know them will be a thing of the past in the next couple of years. And it's something to do with that bioidentical, some way that they can bio-identify the person, the user.
Face recognition.
Something like this. Yeah, biometrics, I think. So they're already using it in the FBI. A lot of these things go to the military first. They use it. They figure it out. Then they pass it along to civilians like us, the lowly civilians.
Yeah,
right?
The consumers.
Consumers. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Jake. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that's great. Technology is really, when I was a kid, I don't even remember. I must have been 5 or 6 or something. Our teacher had us draw a picture of what we thought life would look like in the year 2000. Wow. And we all drew, I was born in 83, so this was maybe 1990 or something. And we all drew like spaceships and, electric sidewalks. And 2000 came, and obviously we didn't have that stuff, but it's like we're we're on the verge of some really crazy stuff technology-wise, and it just blows my mind what's capable. And Tesla, what they're doing with their cars, and they drive themselves. It's like we're going into that like futuristic
drone deliveries.
Yeah, the 5G stuff they're talking about. They can do operation like a doctor can be in California controlling joysticks and operate on somebody in Florida, know, through this new 5G technology. And it's all the kind of stuff you're talking about, Yeah,
it is interesting. I saw just a Cadillac commercial, so not just Tesla. Now Cadillac, in the commercial, it said over 200 million passengerless or driverless miles driven, so they test these things miles and miles before they actually turn them loose, in fear of lawsuits. But it's interesting. The drone delivery, the first drone delivered organ happened a couple months ago from one hospital to the next. They threw it in a drone and said, here, drop it off over there. John needs a new kidney. Heart. So technology is going crazy, and it's interesting to see where it goes. Now the 5G thing, I hear that's actually a negative thing. There's a lot of people saying we don't want that. We don't want all this stuff running through our body, through our organs, and I guess other countries do it, so what do we have to do it, right? So we're kind of
adapt to it, I guess,
keeping up with the status quo.
Crazy.
But let's jump into our lightning round here.
The lightning round.
I am so good at lightning rounds.
I majored in lightning.
All right, so top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom. We'll go with Jake Alexander Financial.
Yeah, just proper planning is essential. I love when we have mortgage people on here too, because it's, if you go to get a mortgage, what's the first thing they ask for is your tax returns, right? So have a team of professionals, work with the right people, and just have the proper plan in place,
Love it.
We don't always need tax returns, but
okay.
Bank statement loans.
We do. We offer bank statement loans for some self-employed borrowers. But backing up to your debit card comment, if it does give you the option to run it as credit, always choose credit, of course.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But going back to that, a lot of people that think they have bad credit, they actually just don't have enough credit. So opening up, you want to have 3 open and active trade lines reporting. So
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good one. All right, so I got a tip here for you. If you're watching our TV show version, I'm going to hold up this rear view mirror here. So, got a rear view mirror there. I can see Jake right there. So the rear view mirror, it's a good analogy for the way that we live our life. A good metaphor. So you've got the rear view mirror, which is about 1/90th the size of your windshield. So the windshield, you look forward as you're going through life and you're driving down the road. This rear view mirror, you want to take a glance every now and then, maybe, to see what's happening behind you. And I think so many times people just focus on some of the negative stuff. They're looking at fear. Number one thing that pops into your mind is fear. As one of my favorite mentors, Tony Robbins, talks a lot about, is our mind is a 2 million year old organ sitting right here up in our noggin. And unfortunately, the mind is going to draw you towards fear. It's going to remind you of those deadlines, those problems that you have. So the more that you can limit your focus on the fear and those things that are, just negative in connotation, you want to do that. You also want to focus your energy on the future, your key elements. I always talk about the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, the 20% of those things that you can do that's going to move you forward every single day. Focus on that. Focus on prospecting if you're in sales. Focus on developing new relationships and having those key conversations and building your database. That's going to help you win. So I would say definitely for letting go of the past, don't focus on the past, especially those negative things that have happened in your past. All right, let's do another round here. So give me some more tips. Top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom.
Focus on the future. So I love that. And we see it in business a lot. And it's a long story, but clients who have fallouts with ex-partners or a business deal that went bad, and I want to sue this guy, and now I need forensic accounting for the past 3 years. And I'm like, look, we can do all that stuff, and we can hire an attorney, and we can spend the next 2-3 years in litigation and fighting all this kind of stuff if that's what you want to do. Or you're a very smart person. Obviously, you got to where you are for a reason. We can take those same resources and move forward.
Yes.
And you'll be in a way, you'll be freed up so much more than fighting all this bad fight for the past few years.
Absolutely.
And go forward. And who knows, your business could be 10 times the size it is now in 3 years with just letting go of the past and go,
That's right.
I like that. It's
Absolutely.
a good analogy.
Yeah, good point. And I bet you see that quite a bit.
In business, a lot of people have problems letting go of things in the past. And it's not that it's not important or it doesn't matter. Hey, it sucks, but you got to move on, deal with it, and go forward.
You start throwing good money at bad money. You get a judgment on somebody. You got to collect on the judgment. I've been there. I've done it. And it's just not worth it. You might as well just go forward and make new money.
There you go.
And then show them how successful you are.
All
right.
I love it.
Chad, give me another nugget, man. Nugget of advice.
My best advice right now.
Yep.
if you've purchased a home in the last 2 years, you need to take a look at refinancing.
Right.
Or if you've owned a home for several years, might be the time to take out that equity.
Several reasons to refinance, too. You might want to shorten from a 30-year term to a 15.
Reduce the term, pay off some debt, do that project you've been putting off. There's multiple benefits to refinancing.
Especially a project that's going to add value to your home. Maybe if you're a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, and you can easily put a second bathroom in. To me, that sounds like a good investment from a real estate standpoint.
Absolutely.
Or let's say you got a 2-bedroom and you want to add that extra bedroom on. You've got room in the floor plan with the setbacks, and there's nothing that's going to allow keep you from doing that.
Yeah, and in a lot of cases we can not only reduce the rate, but as you said, the term at the same time, and that's a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. Reduce the term, condense those payments, get on a biweekly payment program, pay it down faster, more efficiently, cut out thousands of dollars of interest that you would pay. By the way, the word amortization in the Latin means to die slow. So that's the way they stack these mortgages. The word amortization means to die slow. So it's really cool, interesting content there. Hey, great show today. Thanks so much, Chad, Mortgage Approval Group, filling in for Scott Kepler, and Jake Alexander. Always a pleasure as well. And we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Pack up some food or clothing, carry it with you to and from your commute, hand it to that person that you see in need, and be a force for good in the community. Follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter, and we got the Consumer Quarterback Show pages out there. Our YouTube channel is filled with great content. Check out our podcast as well, our iTunes podcast, and you'll be glad you did. ConsumerQB.com.
You've been listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show. Weekday afternoons at 5 on AM 1380. The Big.
Are you a real estate agent looking to take your business to the next level and supercharge your marketing? Hi, I'm Brandon Rhymes, owner of Platinum MVP Realty and host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show, syndicated radio and TV show talk program on iHeartRadio, 1025 The Bone, daily 5 o'clock drive time on 1380 The Biz, and our TV show is on WeBeam TV. We're looking for real estate agents that want to join our team and supercharge their marketing utilizing some of our innovative strategies. We utilize the Real Geeks platform, Facebook marketing, internet marketing, and a lot of the traditional methods as well. Postcard mailers mailed for you, postage, signage, business cards, all paid for by the company. Aggressive real estate splits and ways to help you win in any marketplace. We need you to go out, take applications, and work our plethora of leads that we're generating on a daily basis. Reach out by clicking the form below, and we'd love to have a confidential interview with you.